Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this week's rendition of Speak Your Mind with Larry Cox. I'm actually going on here to share the show right now so we can build the audience a little bit. And I'm going to ask each and every one of you if you wouldn't mind to share the show and like it so we can build our audience a little bit because I'm going to talk about some important things tonight. We're going to talk about taxes. And I know you guys enjoy when we talk about taxes on this show. And we're going to talk about some things. Some people might not want us to talk about the things we're going to talk about tonight because we're going to talk about things where I believe you, the citizens, government's trying to hoodwink you and trick you and take advantage of you. And I'm just not into that. And we're going to talk about that a little bit. So we'll see what goes on. So let me start out tonight by saying hello to some folks who have joined us tonight in the chat. And hopefully you guys will share and like the show so we can make that happen. So tonight we have James Corbett, welcome to the show. We have Cheryl Moulton. We have Cheryl Garcia. I'm sure Ben is there too. Vuko Russo. We have Corliss Turner. We have Mary Boysworth. Charlotte Geller. I think I've already said hello to Cheryl Moulton. Justin Kinney. Judge Justin Kinney. Welcome to the show, Judge. So we've got a nice little audience building. If you've not said hello, say hello in the chat so we can recognize everybody, right? So love to have you guys here and everything, so we can do that. I'm trying to get the chat to show up, and it's not. Don't know what happened with that. So show on stream now. It will. My bad, guys. There we go. How's that go? Got you everybody on there. Alex, thanks for joining me tonight. So I think we've got everybody on here now. We've got this on here, and we are ready to rock and roll. So thanks for joining me tonight. So we're going to talk about some things here tonight. So you guys may know the county and the city have entered into an intergovernmental agreement to where they are going to put a floss on the ballot this November for you to vote on. So the floss is the floating local option sales tax, and there are two different floss in the state of Georgia. There is the general floss, which you can do, which is actually that floss is not required to be used for property tax relief. It is just required to use to lower the millage rate. But this floss that they've introduced is the floss that goes along with House Bill 581, which puts a cap on the amount that property taxes for homesteads can increase to the rate of inflation, which I supported 581 wholeheartedly for that particular reason in general. Now, the floss was an additional feature that was an option that could be exercised or not exercised. And with me, it depended on how it was going to be exercised, whether it was something I was going to support in the future or not. I supported 581 because it would stop the over exaggeration of your properties being evaluated and those taxes being raised generically just because your values were increasing at absorbent rates that were not real. So that was my purpose for supporting 581. And 581 included this floss, which could be used to lower ad valorem property tax values with a credit that you would receive against the penny tax that would, if a municipality and city or county entered into an intergovernmental agreement. So So then that's, how that works. So this floss that is tied with 581 requires 100% of those monies to be used to lower your property or ad valorem property values. You will get a credit just like you do with your host. Now, with the floss and the host together, not a bad deal for homeowners. But it is my understanding that the county wants to replace your host with a lost. And a lost is a local option sales tax. And what that local option sales tax does, it actually let's see here. It actually reduces the overall millage rate. So the lost is would actually go and reduce the overall millage rate, and that would give homeowners, agricultural, commercial, and everybody. It would take the millage rate down per how much of the lost actually goes toward tax reduction. Did a little research, and my research showed me real world lost allocation in the state of Georgia. So real world lost allocation is this: 28%, which is 28 cents of each dollar collected from the lost, would go to reduce the millage rate. 72% or 72 cents of every dollar would go to the general budget. So that means they would get to increase their budget. Let me tell you how that breaks down. Right now, a penny sales tax in Rockdale County is raising just under $24 million a year. So the lost, if we replace the host with the lost would collect that $24 million. 6.72 million would go to reduce the millage rate. 17,280,000 additional dollars would go to the budgets. And that would be, and this is split between the county and the city. And I think the ratio would be the same as what their splosh ratio was split at. Now, if we keep our host and don't do the lost, right now, by law, 80% of the host is required to go to reduce your property taxes. And that's homestead property. So you would get $19,200 minimum reduction in property tax, in host property tax relief. And 4,800,000 by law would be allowed to go to the county for capital expenditures. The last 3 years, the county has approved all of that money for property tax relief. So every penny that the host has taken in has went to property tax relief. But if we switch to a lost, then you will only get $6.7 million going to property tax relief, and it shifts from homestead property to the millage rate and across the board for all taxpayers. And they want to do the floss. The floss would be 100%, but with the floss and the host, you get a whole lot of tax relief, right? With the floss, you're going to get close to $24 million. That's going to reduce the taxes of homeowners. And if you keep the host, that's another close to $20 million. That's guaranteed to go. So that's close to $34 million that would go to property tax reduction if we keep that. But that's not what they're wanting to do, Alex. It's similar to when we fought the SPLOST a few years ago and lost. If the FLOST passes, say goodbye to the host, hello to the FLOST, and hello to the lost. And that's what they're going to do. And then you're going to add close to $18 million of expenditure to the budget. That's exactly the game we're looking at playing here. You're gonna raise the pennies, and then later down the road, we're going to see millage rate increases, and which is going to do away with any kind of savings that you would have. And they say, well, you're getting it reduced. You're not really getting. That's bull crap. So, and this is another thing. And people, say, well, with the sales tax, you don't have to purchase it. It's not true. With the sales tax, I'm purchasing food. With the sales tax, I'm having to purchase electricity. I'm have to purchase gas for my vehicle. That is not accurate. I do not have the options. I mean, I have the option to not buy a house, not buy a car. You know what I mean? I can do that. So that's my thing is I don't really have the option to say no to these purchases that one thinks I might have, because I have to have food, I have to have medicine, I have to have utilities. So that's what it is, right? You would, with the pennies, you can only have two of them, Alex. You can't have a flossed, a host, and a lost. You can have the flossed, but you can only have a host or a lost. You can't have both. And the county wants to replace the host with a lost. And the reason they want to place, because they say, well, you're going to get your tax relief with your flossed, and then if we do the lost, then we can add close to $20 million to our budget. And that's the reality of what this is. So, guys, so you get a double whammy. Let me tell you, at the end of the day, do I believe that we should eliminate property taxes? 100% I believe we should eliminate property taxes. But I believe if we eliminate the property taxes, then we have to increase the sales tax, and it's just the sales tax or the property tax. You don't have both. As long as we're going to have both, I'm going to have to say no to additional sales tax. Because if we're going to truly eliminate and do the switch, then we need to switch. That's what. No, it will be a double question. They're going to get the flossed first, Alex, before they go to the lost host thing. So they need to get the flossed before they can eliminate the host and get the lost. And that's what we're looking at. And then if they don't get the lost, they're just going to keep raising the millage rate to get that additional $20 million that they need for their budget, for their expansion. So, I mean, I can't in good conscience support this flossed. I never said that I supported the floss concept of why I supported 581. I supported 581 to get this out of control property value increase under control. And I think 581 has done that for homestead properties because it can only raise at the rate of inflation now. But I tell you what, this is crazy. It is actually crazy. The loss does not give a homestead exemption. The loss actually is it reduces the millage rate in general. So 28% of what you collect in a loss would go to lower the millage rate. The other money goes to the general fund. I don't think there'll be two questions on the ballot this time, Alex. There will only be one. It'll only be to get the flossed. It's a attack you one at a time kind of thing. You know what I mean? It's get your flossed in there, then get your lost in there. So once you pass the lost at some point down the road, the host has to drop off because you can't have both. That's the way that would work. It would the question would be written at some point about replacing one with the other. So I mean, I'm not for the flossed. I'm not going to be for the flossed because I think it's a trick. All it is it's a swap with that, and I'm not going to go for it. And that's just the way I look at it. I mean, I know some people are going to disagree with me, and that's fine if they do. I'm good with all that, but it's just the way it's going to work for me. I'm not going to go with it. If it's my opinion, I'm giving you my reasoning as to why. I know there's going to be a special meeting of the Board of Elections about putting the flossed question on the ballot. And also, I have some ethical problems with the way this flossed is being introduced. Part of the problem that the county had with, I believe it was the House bill that was introduced to change the districting legislation to add 5 commissioners and do away with the chairmanship, was the fact that there weren't going to be any hearings until uh, right before, after it was proposed and before it was put on the ballot. I think it's the same timeline as we're having now. The county did not have any hearings or any town halls about this before proposing to put it on the ballot, and then they're going to have some town halls after the fact. And when the state legislature did the same thing with, I think it's 382, which would have expanded the commission and eliminated the chairman's position, their argument was exactly what they're doing. That you should have had these discussions before you introduce legislation to put it on the ballot. So they went even a step further. They're actually putting it on the ballot before they're having town halls. And this was the exact, and then to go further, there have been town hall meetings and discussions in public for the last decade about changing the legislative, about changing the commission from 3 to 5 and eliminating the chairman position. There had been town hall after town hall. There had been public meeting after public meeting, and it had been discussed in formats that candidates running for chair and commissioner have talked about for the last 16, 20 years. It has been a topic for 20 years. The floss has never been a public topic, but yet this Board of Commission, who found it okay to go to the governor, veto a bill that would have gave you the right to vote for something, has done the exact same thing, putting it on the ballot and never had a town hall or never had your input on it. Is that not the kettle calling the pot black? I'm just saying right there, folks, there is a double standard, and sneaky 3-person BOC shenanigans. Thank you for that comment. I agree 100%. And that's what we have here right now, folks. And and I know I'm not a popular guy right now making these comments. Probably enemy number one of the state, right? Or the county, right? No, it's not that, guys. You guys need somebody who's not afraid to bring up an opposing opinion and an opposing statement against these shenanigans, this nonsense. I've said this a million times. We might have elected new commissioners, but we still got the same poison behind the scenes that we've had for a decade and a half up there in our county government. We still have the same bureaucrats doing this time after time and in time, again after again. So that's our problem. That's what's going on, right? Alex, I'm not going to support this flossed, no matter, because I don't believe them. Right now, it's just they're in a thing that I just do not believe them. I've actually this week heard additional things about the Bucky stuff. Well, it's not dead. There's some additional things happening behind the scenes and this and that, right? And who knows what you can believe, because they're not open, they're not transparent, and if you don't have transparency, that's why people do not believe what's coming out of there, because you have the lack of transparency. And that's what people voted for, and they've been wanting for the last decade. They've been wanting transparency to come out of that office, and that's what they feel they're not getting. They feel that they're not getting transparency. And I'm one of those individuals who feels that we, the citizens of Rockdale County, are not getting transparency. We're just getting the same old, and it's in a different package. Same old, just packaged differently. And that's the way I see it, and that's the way I feel about it. And you know what? Just like the show Speak Your Mind with Larry Cox, I'm speaking my mind. It's my opinion. It's what I believe. A lot of you may not, some of you may not believe what I think. And some of you may believe what I think. And you know, and that's what this is about. This is about having an open discussion. Do we believe our government, right? Do we believe what they're saying? Do we believe in what they're doing? I do not. And I have a right to say that, and I have a right to have that opinion that I do not believe what they're saying, and I do not believe that they are acting in my best interest. And that's the way I feel. But it's not only, I believe, the way I feel, it's the way a lot of citizens in this county feel. And that's why in the last two elections, we have replaced every single person who sat on that board. In the last 2 years, every person who sat on that board 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, has been defeated. Uh, uh, Bill, I agree, Larry. They are just shifting money around. And that's what, you know, I've talked to several people over the last few days, and that's exactly what the majority of the people feel, that all we're doing is shifting money around. It is just a money shift. And we don't need a money shift. We need true tax savings. You know, that's what we need. It's time to stop the nonsense. It is time to stop the nonsense. It is time to stop the nonsense. And that's what I say. It's transparency, but after the fact. Ugh, that's an interesting statement. Transparency after the fact. Is that a thing? Huh? Uh, See, Vuka Russo, like I'm 100%. I'm gonna put this right. Right? I agree with that. Right? We got deceived again, and I'm upset beyond belief. Right? So, oh, thank you, Catherine Lynn. Oh my goodness. Reply. Okay. After the fact, transparency is another term for coming clean. I deceived you, and now I'm going to tell you the truth of how I deceived you. That's more like, okay, you were deceived, and now let me tell you what I actually did. I did this behind your back, and now let me tell you what I did behind your back. Right? That's what we're talking about. That's the reality. So, you know, guys, I'm just telling you right now, enough is enough in Rockdale County. Enough is enough, right? Enough is enough. Quit the games. Quit playing games with tax dollars. Be transparent. Be open, and let's have a open conversation about what's going on in this county. When you want to flip a host to a lost, and this is, let me go over these numbers, right? Right now, 80% of the host is required to go to ad valorem tax reduction. 20% can go to capital expenditures. Breakdown, let's just say that's even $24 million collected. That would be, the 80% would be $19,200,000 would go to tax relief. And 20%, that would be $4,800,000 that could go to capital expenditures. Let's reverse that to a lost. That would mean that $17,280,000 would be added to your budget, and then you would exchange that $19,200,000 for tax relief to $6,720,000 for tax relief. Now, taxpayers of Rockdale County, may I ask you, is that an even trade? Does that even make sense? The answer is not just no, but what? Say hell no. It does not make sense. And for us as taxpayers to even think that we are going to be hoodwinked once more and think that this is a good idea, that is ridiculous. But we have a couple of things. We can have Bucky's that would have increased the SPLOST and the host dollars significantly. We don't know the truth about that because the county hiding behind an NDA. We don't know what's real. really going on. We own that property. We deserve to know what's going on with property our tax dollars bought, fed up with it, right? And then you've got the data centers, and you've got people out there with made up things of why we should oppose these data centers when there's no scientific proof that it causes health issues, that the sound problems can be mitigated. Older ones had problems, newer ones with new design and technology don't. The power issue is proven to be false with upgrading the electrical grid as they've been doing. We will not have power shortages with uh, Georgia Power and the Public Service Commission requiring these centers to pay up front for the development of the grid, keeping that cost out of the pockets of residential and other commercial users. The things are happening uh, behind the scenes, or to regulate this, that it makes sense that if you can totally flip your tax digest with something like this, it makes sense to do it instead of doing the trickery. Instead of doing the trickery, if we would just spend our time doing the right thing instead of trying to trick the citizens of Rockdale County, then things would look a lot better. But what do we have our government doing? They're always trying to spin something and trick us. I'm tired of the spinning and I'm tired of the tricking. Just be transparent. Just be honest. Just do what you said you were going to do. That's what I ask. Cut the nonsense. Cut the nonsense. That's what I say. So Charlotte Gellert, Georgia Power is okay. Yeah, and Geneva Wood. That's why the audit's never been discussed. You do remember a couple years ago, forensic audit. Yeah, we get elected, we're doing an audit, we'll prove to you whatever. Let me ask a question, and anybody in here has anybody seen an audit? Anybody seen an audit? The answer is no. You have not seen an audit, because amazing how those things just go away, right? How they go away. Those things go away. It's amazing you have to fight your government to do the right thing. And the bad thing about it is the government is supposed to be an extension of you, the will of the people, not government's will upon the people, but the will of the people. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Yep, Bucco, I agree. Once they start going against us, and that's what's going on. Mary Ward, nope. Geneva Wood, not happening. And that's the reality, folks. That is what we've got going on in this county right now. That is crazy. Just crazy. So, that's my rant. That's my 30-minute rant. What do y'all think? That was a true 30-minute rant, right? So, I mean, you guys have not got a rant out of me in a long time. But you just got a whopper out of me, right? You just got a 30-minute rant from Larry Cox speaking his mind about a whole bunch of nonsense going on right now. And the audience participation is there, and the audience attendance has grown really big. So that means there's some people watching that are probably really ticked off at me right now. And that's okay, because I don't care. You guys know I don't care too, right? You guys actually know I don't care. and that's the thing about it, right? Because I've never been afraid to speak my mind. I've never been afraid to say what I think is going on and what we should be doing, right? And that's what we need to do. And you know what, guys? Until we get it right, that's what we use the ballot box for, right? Until we get it right, that's what we use that ballot box for. If, I've said it often and I'll say it again, we just need to change our elected officials like we change our underwear every day. Every day. Change them often. Get, in and out. You don't do what we say, you're in, you're out. And there's nothing wrong with that, because those seats are not their seats. They're your seats. And the people in them are just holding them for you. And that's me too. Because you elected me to an office and I hold an office It's not my seat, it's your seat. I'm just holding it for you. And the day that you don't think I'm holding it accountable and properly for you, then do the same thing to me. Kick me out. Give me the boot. That's what we do. That's what we need to do. Guys, I'm gonna tell you right now, I got myself worked up, and I do that sometimes, right? I get myself worked up. But uh, I get worked up for a good cause, right? You guys deserve uh, an outlet like this show, where you can come on, put your comments in there, let your voice be heard. You deserve an advocate. You deserve somebody who will come and speak their mind on your behalf, and just let it fly, and not really care that what people think about it, or if there's a consequence. Um, I think that this county has been through so much, and just being played all the time, and ineffective leadership, and just the fact that we've had to tolerate this for so long. It's just unimaginable. Um, but I do believe in the process. I do believe that at some point we get it right. And I do think that we don't get it right until we expand this commission board and do away with this all powerful chairperson. I mean, the all powerful chairperson, I mean, we used to joke around when Oz was the chairman about the all powerful Oz, the Wizard of Oz, right? But there is something to say about that. Um, this chairperson position is a dangerous position. It's too powerful a position. It's too much power welded in one person's hand. It needs to be divided up among 5 commissioners. And that's why it needs to be divided up, because you have one person wielding too much power. With power, power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. And I believe that's the position we're in Rockdale County, with having this all powerful chairperson position. And that's my position with it. And I believe we've got to do that. Angela Moore, many counties are being exposed now. The roosters are coming out home to roost. Thank you, Angela, for that comment. And I believe that's true. We've got to do the right thing for the citizens of this county. And one of the right things to do is expand this board of commission to 5, and to weaken the authority of that commission chair. It's got to happen, and and I'm just really requesting our state legislators to do something about that, because our commission will again oppose it. Uh, you know, and but I think this time, whoever the governor is, I don't think you've got the same ear this time. You don't have Governor Kemp to run to. So I think, the legislation will stand, and you, the citizens of Rockdale County, will actually get the opportunity to vote on something that you wanted to vote on. And that's the thing about it. Can't pick and choose, but apparently this commission can. They didn't want you to vote on that, but they want you to vote on this. They said it wasn't fair you weren't having town halls till after it was going to, be put on the ballot. Well, that didn't even get put on the ballot because they said it wasn't fair to be done that way. But they put theirs on the ballot and are going to have town halls after. So come on, guys. You're wanting to have your cake and eat it too. And it's very apparent with this action, your cake and eat it too, people. Can't deny it because you did it. You put it on the ballot without going to the citizens of Rockdale County. And then you're going to talk about it afterwards. Just what you said wasn't fair about that 5 commission legislation. So, you're called out on it. You said it. You did it. So you got to reap what you sow. You had that position then. Now you reverse your position when it's convenient for it not to be that position. And that's the reality we live in, folks. That is the reality we live in. And that's what I say. Guys, we've been on here close to 40 minutes and I've said enough. And I'm not going to say anything more. I'm going to actually get off of here. And I'm going to tell you, I thank you guys for joining me tonight. Uh, and I'm just glad that that you guys listened. I'm glad you were in attendance tonight, and I'm glad that you guys get it. I'm glad you have the ability to come on here and and listen to what I say, but then not only that, formulate your own opinions about these things. Because as I talk to people, common, everyday, ordinary people, they're not happy with this nonsense, and they don't like it, and I don't like it either. And I have a way to express my opinion and tell you that I don't like it. So I don't like it, and I'm going to fight your floss this November, just so you know. And that means forming a committee and putting up signs and all that. Then you guys know I'll do that, and it's not beyond me buying a couple of billboards either. So there you go. Thank you guys. Good night, and I can't wait to hear from you guys about this subject. Give me a call, give me a text, let me know your thoughts, and I'll see you guys next week. Well, one other thing. Here on July 30th, the Rockdale County Board of Education should be approving Stephanie Johnson officially to be the next superintendent of schools. She was named Rockdale County Board of Education's finalist for that position this past Thursday. Do your due diligence. Go look up Miss Johnson. Very qualified candidate. She made it through a field of 47 individuals to become that sole finalist. And I think you guys will be happy with the job I think Miss Johnson will end up doing. So thank you guys again. See you guys next week. Reach out with any questions or comments. Thank you and good night.